Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, November 20th, 2025. It's late in the month. It feels like it should be Thanksgiving already, but Thanksgiving's not for, I guess, another week. But I am almost in the taper. I had a big workout this morning. I'm feeling runner's high about it. I'm feeling good. I feel like I haven't had like the endorphin, like post-run endorphins. I feel like I haven't really felt that in years, but I think multiple times over this last maybe handful of months, I would get back from a run and be like, I'm in a really good mood. What's happening? So I'll take it. And today's one of those days where I'm feeling really, really good. We'll talk all about it because I don't have much else to talk about today. Did run in a new pair of shoes, which I don't think any of you guys have seen yet, at least not on any of my channels. So we'll talk about that. But first, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. Hopefully, you are cooling down from a tough session that you just nailed, because that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm hoping the same thing for you. And everyone watching this later but not live, welcome to the #1 Drive Time Radio show for runners. And I hope that your packing is going well as you're getting ready for your Thanksgiving travels. Or maybe you haven't started packing yet. Maybe you're thinking about packing. We got to start thinking about packing too, because one, my mother-in-law is doing her Thanksgiving this Sunday. So Thanksgiving is Sunday for us. But also, like, these days, like, a lot of kids are getting the entire week of Thanksgiving off. It used to be like maybe you'd get a half day on Wednesday. Then I think after the pandemic, they were like, whatever. No one's doing anything that Monday and Tuesday anyway, so whole week off. And that's what my kids have. But what's strange about it is that the teachers schedule, I'm sure it's not the teacher's idea, but the teachers have student conferences that week. So we're going to go to Iowa and then come back for conferences. And I think the whole family's coming back, because then my daughter's like, well, if you're coming back, I want to go to rock climbing practice. And then my daughter in that same time would have her swimming lessons. She likes swimming. So so both of the kids are like, oh, I want to come back. So I don't know. We're kind of leaving for Thanksgiving on Friday. We're kind of not, but we have a lot of time. All right. Let's see who we got in the chat here. Martha's here. She says, hi, friends, I'm here early today for a change. Good to see you. Luis is here. Yo, what's going on? Mark's here as well. James says, yo, what's going on, co-fam? And Martha says, finally ran 40 minutes easy for the first time since New York, and my foot got messed up by a bad dude. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're back at it again, Martha, because that's good. That could have been dangerous. Hopefully the run went well for today. And let's see. Benjamin David said, what's up, good people? Who's caffeinated up, undertrained, and ready to rip a turkey trot? We might be doing a whole family turkey trot. So I brought it up to the family the other day. I think we were all in the car going somewhere. I'm trying to think where that would have been. I guess it might have been going to a rock climbing competition. But anyway, we were all in the car, and I was like, hey, remember that turkey trot we did last year when it was 14 degrees outside and it was super cold? I suggested to my daughter that I might do the 2.5 mile, the 1 lap race with her. She's like, but you got to stay with me. I'm like, I will try to stay with you. You got to stay with me, because I think she might be faster than me at this point. But maybe not. On the hills, I think she will be. She's a really strong hill runner. So we're thinking we might do that one again. And then my wife's like, do people walk this one? And I'm like, oh yeah, lots of people walk. And she's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll go too. And then my younger daughter's like, I want to go, because she's done Girls on the Run. And she's like, it's 2.5 miles. I know I can do that, because she's done 5K before. So we might have a whole family going out there. Mark says, from what I could see, it looks like a sweet sweatshirt. Yeah, it's an Onitsuka Tiger sweatshirt. I got it a while ago. Maybe like right around the time that I ran Tokyo, I think a little bit before then is when I got it. Yeah, Abdi Abdurrahman has the same one. He wears it better than I do. Robbie also has the same one too. I think. He might have it in a different color, but I like the pink color. It really stands out. CV76 wants to know, does runner high decrease with age? It's hard for me to tell. I just thought that I had maybe like gotten used to it. I built a tolerance to runner's high. Because you know how people say, like, you could tell if someone's done their run yet for the day by how grumpy they are. I feel like that's like endorphins withdrawal, right? That's how my interpretation of that always was. Although for me personally, I'm grumpy when I haven't got my run in during the day because that means that my schedule has been messed up and I'm annoyed about it. And it's not about endorphins. It's more about being flustered about lack of control in my schedule. Maybe that's endorphins. I don't know. So I always thought it was that, and that's why I never really felt runner's high. But I've been feeling runner's high not regularly, but I felt it a couple of times. And when I do, I'm like, oh, hey, this is what people are talking about. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Senior Grandmaster Runner Dan says, no, I still get runner's high and I'm 65. That's nice. That's good to know. I'm glad. All right. Herm says, I'm actively trying on the JFK 50 kit. Probably should have done this before 2 days out. LOL. Are you okay? I thought I saw something that said you might be hurt or something, Herm. Are you all right? Herm, by the way, I don't know if you saw this, but I have confirmation from Megan Featherston that they're going to be answering our question about hot dogs as whether if they have a benefit for endurance athletes. They're going to be addressing that on Feel for the Soul. I think they were recording it either today or maybe they recorded it yesterday. I couldn't tell exactly the day. So I think the next episode, we're going to have to listen for that one. We'll finally get all our hot dog questions answered. Super Unjit says, my whole family is doing an early turkey trot this Saturday. My son's girlfriend is even joining. Well, that's fun. You got to let them know, that this is a turkey trot family. So, they know what they're getting into if it becomes serious. So I'm glad that their girlfriend's going. Eric says, my runner's high these days is not having to deal with other people's BS. Just saying. That's pretty nice. That would be pretty nice. I like that. Yeah. And Super Unjit says, I feel like I only get runner's high on shorter runs. Do you think that's what it is? Do you think I'm just running too much and that's why I don't feel it all the time? Like I'm getting it, but I'm still on the run. Maybe that's why my runs always feel better around mile 5. Interesting. And Martha says, my runner's high always shows up after I stop, whether it's a workout, a long run, or a race. Oh, that's awesome. Nice. Duke BB has a running shoe question. Have you ran in the Salomon Aero Glide 3 gravel? Yes, it is. Is it up here? Oh, it's one above this one. It's a Gore-Tex version. Let me get it real quick. Oh no, I have Aero Blaze 3 gravel. I always get Aero Glide 3 gravel. I don't have the Aero Glide 3 gravel. I have the Aero Blaze 3 gravel. I get the Blaze and the Glide mixed up. The Blaze is the faster one. The Glide is the bigger one, right? Yeah. I don't have the Glide 3 in gravel. I have the Blaze 3 in gravel. To me, the shoes feel so different when they have the extra tread on the bottom. So the Blaze gravel feels to me like what I want the Aero Glide 3 Road to feel like in terms of the midsole experience. The Glide 3 Road has so much of that beaded foam in it that it feels a little bit dense. Like there's a little bit too much in there. And I feel like they need to take some out or carve out some more like channels on the bottom to make it move a little bit better. Because I feel like it's a little bit too dense. But the Blaze 3 gravel is nice. I also have, this shoe is the Glide 4 gravel. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that one yet. I'm allowed to show pictures of it here. So this one is Glide 4 gravel, right? And like the size on these is there's a little bit, you could see that there's a little bit more, at least more sidewall up in the forward of the foot and in the back, but they're so similar. But the upper on this is really nice, but it's a bit snug. I kind of in between sizes, I think, on this one. The Glide 3 gravel runs like a Blaze 3, and the upper fits really nicely. And this one is Gore-Tex. All white Gore-Tex, I kind of love. But I also love this 4. It feels nice. And this upper looks gorgeous, like this like snakeskin stuff. It's got some reflective bits on the back. It's not snakeskin, but the snakeskin style. And then it has a very stretchy vamp. And then this new kind of speed lace, which to me kind of feels kind of cheap. I guess I'm talking about this shoe a lot today right now, but so we're going to do that. But this feels kind of cheap to me, but it makes a lot more sense. It's more intuitive to me also than the regular speed lace. And I think with gravel, this is the first time a gravel shoe has had a speed lace on it. So I think they're trying to figure out like, what do we give the Americans basically? They get mad when we have speed laces. They have mad when it's not speed laces. So we don't know what to give them. I feel like it's Salomon trying to figure out. So that's what's going on with these shoes. But I like all of them. They're all good. But like the differences between them all are starting to get real small. All right. Herm said, though, with as far as his injury goes, he said, I had a little soreness in the hip, but we're all good. Awesome. Let's go hot dog questions. K Magenta 22 is running the Philly half this weekend. That's awesome. I've been spending a lot of time on the treadmill, so I've been watching a lot more YouTube than I even normally do. And in addition to K Magenta running Philly half this weekend, Adam Fogdog. How do I say that? Adam Fogdog Fog? Adam the Fog Dog? Adam Fogg the Fog Dog is also running the Philly half. And I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be pretty fun. Elijah wants to know, are you planning to review the Brooks Glycerin Max 2? I heard it's pretty bad compared to the original. I am planning on reviewing it. They haven't sent it to me yet. And at first I thought it was because it was a European thing, because all the reviewers that I saw that had it were European. And then I just saw a whole bunch of Americans have it now, and I still don't. And I'm thinking what they're probably planning on doing is giving out a bunch of pairs at TRE, since that's this week. And so like people that they think they're going to be seeing at TRE are going to be getting pairs. But I am going to TRE, I guess. But I don't know what my schedule is like. So I don't know that I'll be like roaming the floor. I won't be covering it like I normally do. I'm going with a brand rather than to cover the brands. And so it's a little bit different. But I think that's why I don't have it yet. But I'll reach out to probably after TRE, because there's no point in asking for it now. And I'm about to run a race. I'm not super eager to be testing a bunch of new shoes. I just finished a 100-mile review of the Evo 2, the Adidas Adios Pro Evo 2. My next video is going to be 100-mile review of the Bondi 9. I'm ready to shoot the 100-mile review of the Rebel 5. So I'm just knocking out all the shoes that I'm familiar with, and I'm trying not to introduce too much newness. Although I do have some new shoes to talk about too. But yeah, so I'll probably wait, because before TRE, everyone is slammed. So if I ask for it now, they'll be like, this is really annoying. So I'll ask for it later, because I love Glycerin Max 1. But if they kind of like did something awesome and then pulled it back and made it less awesome, that would be the exact same thing that happened with Ghost Max. So it'd be disappointing, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. Eric says, look, we're all being randomized for YouTube optimization numerically. Eric Paramount is normally just Eric Paramount, right? But now he's Eric Paramount 3463. Something weird that happened to me is, so I have like my my regular like Gmail account, right? And with Gmail, because Gmail is all Google and YouTube is all related, that has an associated YouTube account that I actually don't ever use, because I always watch and respond to comments on my Kofuzi account. But I also have the Kofuzi Run Club account. So like when I log in, there's 3 possible options. For the longest time, it was just Mike Co or Co Mike, or I forget how I did it. And then the other day I looked at it and it was Co Mike dash like number. And I was like, what? And then a bunch of letters too. And I was like, what's happening? So that's kind of weird. And then Richard says like, hey, how come I'm no longer Richard Wilson, but WK633, which is an ancient handle? I don't know, man. Everything got reset. Wasn't there like a major internet outage a little while ago? Maybe we've all reverted. Maybe like they had to revert us all back to, I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Vanessa says, are you going to finish the electrolyte mukbang today? Oh, I totally forgot that I was going to do that. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that today. I'm not looking forward to it. So a couple of things though. So I have been taking more of the nitric oxide pills. I made an Instagram reel about it, which, I'm not a nutritionist and I normally don't care all that much about supplements. But my diet is pretty bad. So my previous thought was like, well, I eat a pretty varied diet, so I'm getting everything I need through my food. And I'm realizing now, I'm like, no, I'm not. So I've been trying some other things. And so I tried nitric oxide. And I showed you guys that, the Swiss RX ones. And I made one reel about it. And oh my goodness. I feel like some people, either their algorithm is specifically tuned for it. Because I didn't even name the name of the brand. I just said in the reel that like I just took a bunch of nitric oxide pills. And so many people who I've never met before, you know what I mean? Like usernames that I don't recognize, are suddenly giving me all sorts of advice. One that comes in 2 flavors. Oh yeah, well I use this. It's kind of like nitric oxide, but I prefer this. And the other people are, that's dumb. Here's what you should be doing instead. Here's what I do. And I'm like, who are these people? Maybe they're lurkers and they're just like mildly interested in the shoes. And now it's like, oh, this is my area of passion, so I'm going to comment. Maybe that's what it is. But it just feels like people come out of the woodwork sometimes when you hit the right note or the wrong note on Instagram. I don't know. But I was taking that and I think I've been using it for maybe 10 days now. However long ago it was when I opened it. And this is maybe the 3rd or 4th session where on session days, you take a different dose of nitric oxide pills from a different bottle. And today I felt like, oh, I feel like it's working. And it didn't feel like I was stronger, or didn't feel like it was like a pre-workout where I was like jacked up. It just felt like I could keep pushing, like I had just had more horsepower. I just had to dig. I had to pay. I was paying for it. I had to work for it. I had to reach for it, but like it was there when I reached for it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know. So it's kind of, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this works. We'll have to see. All right. I'm behind you guys in the chat here. Let me figure out. Rusty Ortolano says, since you're always reviewing shoes in training, do you dislike, you don't have a consistent shoe to train in, or we don't know? I'm not sure I understand this question. But basically, like, I have shoes that I like, and those are the ones that tend to get 100-mile reviews really fast. And then I have shoes that you might see me do a review, and then if you follow my Strava, you'll notice like, oh, I've never seen that shoe since. Those are shoes that I kind of don't like. And so people have noticed that like, oh, when Kofuzi does a 100-mile review, that in and of itself is usually a pretty good indicator that he likes it. And that's generally true. Because I don't have to do 100-mile reviews. But there's certain shoes that I just end up reaching for again and again that it's really easy to do it. Like Evo SL, I had to slow myself down and like space out the miles. Because it's no fun if you do like an Evo SL review and then like 3 weeks later do a 100-mile review. I mean, I guess it's useful, but for me, I try to space it out long enough so that way when I do the buying guide, maybe some other shoes have gone on sale in the interim, which changes the math, you know? And so that I like try to space it out a little bit. But yeah, if other times, sometimes I'll test a shoe and you might see it on Instagram, but then you never see it on YouTube. And that's because I just don't like it to running it more than once or twice. Or I've run it a bunch of times and I don't like it. And I just don't want to have to talk bad about a shoe. So I just won't make a video about it. Johnny says, San Antonio looks good for running. The TRE webinar explained there's a 15-mile Riverside run right from the conference center. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that river walk was that long. I thought it was really short and like kind of full of restaurants and stuff. I didn't think it was runnable. I guess I don't know much about San Antonio. I mean, I know I don't know about San Antonio, but I guess what little I thought I do know, I don't even know. So that'll be nice. I think I'll be getting there Monday night. I'll be doing stuff, I think, all day Tuesday, and then I don't know what Wednesday's like, and then I'm leaving first thing Thursday morning. So I think my normal rule when I travel is I try not to do stuff. I try to skip dinner if there's a planned dinner, and I almost always skip stuff that's after dinner. On this Salomon trip, I didn't follow that rule. And usually for TRE, I don't follow that rule. Because all my friends are there and people that I know and work with are there, and so it's nice to just hang out. But for this time, I think I'm going to, because, I'm going to be on my feet more than I want to. And this project that I'm working on while I'm down there is there's a lot of project creep happening on it, so I feel like it's going to end up being pretty busy. But I will need to do some running when I'm there. Now, I think Monday morning, I don't know, I think I'll probably need to run when I land. And then Tuesday morning, I'll probably try to run in the morning. I don't think I need to be anywhere until like noon, so I might do a longer run on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I have no idea. Thursday, I'm going to be traveling literally all day till Friday, so that'll be a scheduled rest day. So that'll be weird. But we'll figure it out. Let's see. What else we got here? Your Yoon4797 said, will you do a review of the Coral Space 4? Yeah, I think I'm going to try to do it. I'm not sure if I'm going to race Valencia with it. I might. That's kind of what I've been waiting for. Also, like, watch reviews maybe it's because I don't do a lot of watch reviews, but watch reviews take me like 5x amount of time as a regular shoe review does. There's just so much more that I have to think about that's different. And what I normally film is not the stuff that I need. So I end up filming a lot of weird B-roll for it. So it's a little bit of an albatross, but yeah, so far I'm thinking it's going to be Coros Pace 4 versus everybody. And I'll just kind of, all the watches that I've been testing all year long, I'll just throw against Pace 4 and see where it comes out. Michael BBTP 1545 says, the exception is the 100-mile review of the Cloud Monsters. That's true. The Cloud Monsters, I think what happened with those is like I had so many mixed feelings about those. I was like, do I like this? Usually I know like right away. Like, this is good, this is not good, this is what I like about it, this is what I don't. With the Cloud Monsters, I was like, I don't know what's happening here. I think I like this, and I also think I hate it. I'm not sure. And so I kept having to run in it, and by that point I was like, I'm at 45 miles. I might as well just keep running them to see what happens, you know? So that's kind of what happened with those. And then there's other times where I'm like, well, I think it's important, even if I don't like it, to either do the review or to try to get it to 100 miles. And Raquel Escatel says, there's concrete trails that follow the San Antonio River. There's missions built in the late 1700s that are a must to visit. Oh, that's interesting. I like that idea. Maybe I'll have to do an exploratory run on Tuesday. I'm trying to think. At some point, I'll be doing a session. Tuesday's probably my day, so I might be doing some speed work on there. Sega Dreamcast says, what got you back to TRE? If I remember correctly, you said last year it was a probably for you. I was trying not to go. I was very much trying not to go. I was telling many people that I wasn't going to go, but then I got an offer I couldn't refuse. It's an exciting story to cover, but also it'll pay well as well. So I'm like, I think I have to fit that into my schedule. So that's what happened. Maple Ridge 8 says, thanks, Co, for the inspiration to take a 2-week running adventure in Morocco. It was incredible. Well, I'm glad you liked that video. I had a really good time on that trip. And I definitely have that kind of travel itch. But I'm also like, I'm not the best traveler. I'm not the best planner, I think is more specific. And so I want to do more adventures like that. But I also don't want to do them in tour groups. Like that group was way big. It was like 100 people, you know? And so that makes it hard. But like to go to some, like I don't think I could have handled that trip on my own by myself. One, from a language perspective, and two, from a just like traversing that much of the country. Not that I felt unsafe, but it would have been stressful. Whereas the way we did it, I was like, oh, they got it figured out. I'll just fall asleep on this bus. So I'd like to go on bigger, more adventurous adventures. I just don't know how to figure that out in a way that pushes my comfort zone, but also is still within my comfort zone, you know? And the other thing that's hard about it is the view. There's not a lot of views on that Morocco trip. People were not interested in seeing me running in the desert, apparently. So like that's what makes it hard too. I mean, I don't even know how many views there are. There's some, but there's not as many as I would have liked, and so it makes it a harder sell. It takes a really long time. It's exceptionally exhausting. In terms of taking a long time, it takes me a long time away from my family, you know. But I would like to do more of that stuff. One of my dream trips is to go. I want to run in Mongolia. But that's another one of those where like I just don't know how to make that happen. I know there are tour groups that take runners through Mongolia, and I have my eye on those. I'm on their mailing lists and stuff like that. But like I would love to be able to kind of go see the places where, not where I'm not from Mongolia. My parents are not from Mongolia. But my parents' ancestors are from, you know what I mean? My parents' ancestors are from Mongolia. And so like that's kind of like, I think the draw of that to me is its foreignness and my connectedness to it in a way. Luis is now Luis Becerra 79. He said we are all numbers now. What's going on with that? Midlife Runner says do a speed session on King William and if you need flat terrain. Okay. All right. There we go. That might be it. King William. All right, I'll have to remember that. Maple Ridge says, I'm not a good traveler, but my group was 8 runners and 2 guides with a couple drivers. Okay. See, I think I would like that. That's a good number. That's a good size. Something where you could go and experience 8 is still 8 and 2 guides and a couple drivers Yeah, that's still you're taking over a restaurant when you go, but like I don't know how else to do that in a way to keep the logistics flowing smoothly and help ensure safety. I don't know. Martha says touring globally with Cleveland and Philly Orchestra over the years has made me dislike long distance travel, but especially with groups. I can see that. I can see that for sure. See what I my dynamic works out best in the sense that I am adventurous and impulsive and not picky, right? And so like I pair well with someone who is either very meticulous and like here's the things that I want to do. I just need someone to go with me because I don't want to go by myself. Like I'm the person you should call. You got a crazy wild trip that you want to go on, and you don't know who would go on that with you. I'll probably go with you. Or someone that's even more impulsive than me and is like, "Hey, I had this idea. Let's do it." I'd be like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." So I'm a good like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea" kind of person. Oh, okay. Mabel Rich says the group coming in with is called Rogue Expeditions. Yeah, I'm on the email list. So yeah, that's one that I've been kind of eyeing all of their trips. Rashan Fernandez. Dude, I don't know what's going on with these usernames. Because Rashan is Rashan Fernandez dash MD5CF. But anyway, Rashan says, have you decided which shoe you're running for Valencia? I started trialing the Sky Tokyo, and it's a definite for me in Valencia. Last long run, 35 kilometers, and then was sublime. I'm going to go with the Metaspeed Ray. I think it's a little risky to do that one, but I did a 16-mile run in them or 18-mile run in them. I can't remember. I think it was an 18-mile run in them, and I felt great. And so at that point, I was like, all right, I'm going to shut it down. I'm at 30 miles or so in this shoe, and I haven't run in it since. And so I'll do that speed session in San Antonio in the Metaspeed Ray just to get a little bit more reacclimated to it. But yeah, that's the shoe that I think I'm going to run in. It would either be that, Fast R3, or maybe even the Metaspeed Edge, because I've already raced in the Metaspeed Sky Tokyo. So I feel like these are the three that I kind of enjoy a lot right now. I just recently did a 6x6 in the threshold session in the Metaspeed Edge, and it's a really nice shoe. Yeah, Martha says Mongolia is on a high plateau, if I'm not mistaken, so check out the elevation. Yeah, I've seen some running videos from the area, and it just seems very like arid, not desert arid, but like high plains. And I do think the running would be challenging there, you know. But I don't know. Part of me is like, is a running journey even the right journey to have in Mongolia? Like part of me, remember for a while I was like obsessed with motorcycle videos, guys. And so a part of me is like, oh, maybe I need to get my motorcycle license again and then start doing some adventure riding to explore more of the country at a time. I don't know. Grand ideas. It's percolating. It's not dying in the base. It's not languishing here in the basement. It's percolating here in the basement. I just don't know what to do with that idea, you know. All right, Agent 45 says pizza recommendation for San Antonio, Il Forno. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I need. Because I have a feeling when I'm going, so I'm going down there with Adidas, and Adidas does a very good job of like when there's like a big thing that, like most brands, like there's dinner taken care of for you. One I think is it's a courtesy of hospitality. Like if they're bringing people down, they set that up so that way people are taken care of. But I also think that it's like, because you're bringing people down anyway. Rather than having to collect a bunch of receipts and expenses and stuff, they're like, well, we'll just plan dinner for everyone. Not only the people that are our guests, but the people that are working, all that kind of stuff. I don't know what the itinerary is yet. Sometimes on these kind of trips, there is like, more lengthy dinners planned. But I think because it's TRE week, I don't think that there will be. So I'm gonna duck out and see how much pizza I can eat. I was just listening to the Citius Mag interview of Laura Thweet, and she was saying that I think Joe Klecker confirmed this as well in some of his post race interviews or podcast interviews. But she was saying that Joe Klecker ate pizza like every meal when he was in New York, leading up to the race. And so I'm like, if it could work for Joe Klecker, then why can't it work for me? So I'm gonna try to eat a bunch of pizza. Although once I get to Spain, I'm right now with the way my schedule has changed. I'm getting in Friday, so there isn't a ton of time for me to eat stuff while I'm there. I put a little bit of a list together. Mainly, I just want to get a big paella. I feel like that would be a good way to carb up, right? Just have a bunch of rice that way, but I don't know. Johnny says you just need to collab with Jeff Pelletier. He planned the crazy trip, and you just need to tag along. Problem is, I wouldn't be able to keep up with Jeff. That's the thing. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like, well, maybe Jeff wants to have more than just he and Aubrey go on a trip. But he does that already. He does the Tour de Mont Blanc, and don't they do that like every year? They bring like a small group of people. I thought about like maybe seeing if I could tag along. Paying for it, of course, but like, but then he's already making a video of it. Then if I make a video of it, is that too many videos of it? I don't know. Yeah. All right. Mark Johnson says, attempting my first full marathon in 2026. Is Marine Corps Marathon a good choice? If that's near you, then yes, it's a great choice. It's a little bit of a tough course, I think, because at the end it's uphill finish, which is kind of mean. But I also, if I understand it correctly, I think on that uphill finish, like Marines line the sides of the course and they're yelling at you or cheering for you, So I feel like that's pretty cool. It's a giant race, and it's well organized, and I've heard nothing but good things about it though. So I think it's a good one. Sometimes, sometimes weather can be kind of iffy on that one though. I'm thinking about the one year where it was like flooding. People were almost up to their knees in water in certain parts of the course. But this day and age, what race doesn't have that potential? So, but I think Marine Corps Marathon's a great choice if it's the one that's near you. All right, Rich-Wilson -00 says, YouTube handles were changed to create unique, consistent identifiers for each channel, similar to other social media platforms. That's kind of weird to me. I'm not sure I understand that in terms of explaining why everyone has numbers all of a sudden. Rich says, quote, this change makes it easier to find creators, reduces impersonation, and improves user experience by allowing handles to be used across the platform, including in comments and live chat and shorts. Weren't they already? I don't know. I don't understand. All right. Steve says, can I get a bell ring for the 5-minute PR this past weekend? Richmond Half Marathon, time 2:03:01. Absolutely. Great job, Steve. I feel like this last weekend was Richmond, and I think every women's marathon was also this weekend. And I haven't heard too much about them, either one. So glad to hear some reporting, some feedback from the course. Yeah, Matt Running says a runner's weekend in Mongolia is going to be cinema. I think the views would be great. I think that's another reason why I don't want to go with like a big group, because it makes it hard to kind of like go at the pace that I want to go. When I went with a big group, it was awesome because I didn't have to think about a thing. But there were times where I'm like, we've spent too much time here. And there's other times where I'm like, why are we going so fast through some of this stuff? So that's, I mean, pacing figuratively, not literally pacing on the run, but like pacing of like the trip. Certain things are just different than how I would want to approach it, you know? So that's why I feel like, yeah. I think I basically, because I've been thinking about it, I think about it a lot. And I think when I watch shows like, No Reservations is a big inspiration for me. And it's like, well, he has not handlers and not fixers, but he has like the local person, right? That knows stuff. That is kind of like the liaison that's there. And I'm sure they have an advanced team that goes through and like, all right, we check this out. We check this out. People said really good stuff about this, but it ended up being pretty touristy. We're not going to do that. I feel like that's a lot of research and work. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm not really that good at. So Herm says, count me in for pizza in San Antonio. All right. Well, I'll let you know. And depending on what the feel for the soul, depending on what Featherston says about hot dogs, maybe some hot dogs too. Lee says Whole Foods have great pizzas. No, they don't. That's a trap. Oh man, the Whole Foods pizza always looks good, but it's always so dried out and gross. All right. Let's talk about a new shoe that I ran in the other day. It was under embargo, and then I forgot when the embargo passed, and then I was like, oh, I should probably run in this one. So I ran in it yesterday without showing it to you guys first, but I did take some measurements of the weight of the shoe. But here it is. It's from Diadora. This is the Cellula 2, and it is a max cushion shoe. So like the Nucleo is their daily trainer. The Cellula is a little bit bigger. I wasn't sure about. I was pretty sure I was gonna hate this shoe when I read the description of it, because they were like, "This is our neutral shoe where we've enhanced stability," and I'm like, "Oh gosh." And then I saw a blowed up, diagram of the shoe, and so I think it's like an EVA carrier outsole, like an EVA bathtub. There is an Anima, their newer Anima, the soft stuff that's like in the Frequenza and the Atomo Star, the supercritical stuff. There's an insert of that, but then there's also like a little wedge of like, I forget what Diadora calls their gel, but it's basically like Asics gel, and it's used in all their stability stuff. So that's what's in the shoe. And I was like, this is going to be a clunky shoe. And at first it was, see, this is like kind of like the Cloud Monster, where I was like, I have an idea going into it, what this shoe is going to be. And then I put it on and it kind of is exactly what I thought it was going to be. But maybe it was the endorphins kicking in. But about 3.5, 4 miles into the run, I started feeling really good in this shoe. And then all of a sudden this shoe got really exciting is not the right word, but I was getting along with it real well. And it didn't feel like a controlling, motion controlled stability shoe. It just felt like a very cushioned, slightly dense, but soft shoe. And I was really enjoying the miles. And so this one's kind of definitely need to do more thinking on it. Someone said, yeah, Super said it was early onset runner's high. My meniscus hurt said all Diadora shoes look so heavy. Yeah, they do. They do. And this one is heavy. Let's get the shoe sheet out and see how heavy. How heavy is it? All right. So I took a picture of it when I weighed it before I ran in it, just to make sure I would have that so I could show the numbers to you guys. Where is it? Okay. Yeah, it's a big boy. So let's scroll down here. Let's add this new one we got. All right, first I gotta unhighlight everything. All right, we got Diadora, Cellula 2, right shoe 9, and road. The other thing that I was really worried about is like, here, hold on. Like, look at how much puffiness there is in the back of this shoe. It's a ton. It's more puffy than like a Nimbus, like the old Nimbuses were. Remember that when they were super puffy back here? This may be the puffiest shoe that I've seen in a long time. The tongue is nice and thin, right? Nothing to it. But back here, there's just so much. And there is a pretty stiff heel counter in the back. But yeah, so I was like, there is a lot going on in the shoe. And I was also worried because I think Diadora, their sizing is off a lot of the time. It's kind of all over the place. Well, it's not all over the place. It's generally small. And I gave them my normal running shoe size. And I was like, I should have gave them 9.5. I should have gone a size up. But this one ended up feeling snug, but fine. The Atomo Star that I ran in, which is the made in Italy one, that one was too small. I definitely needed to size up half a size, if not a full size. I probably would have enjoyed a full size. The Nucleo 2, not bad. The Gara Carbon is fine. That's right. But the Nucleo 2 is fine. Maybe could have sized up. This one is kind of the same. It's fine. For a shoe like this, sizing up might be better since it's a max cushion shoe. All right. Let's get to there we go. How do I put it up? There we go. What the numbers are though. But this shoe came in pretty heavy. 10.4 ounces and 294 grams. So not crazy heavy, but it's also not like crazy big either. So let's give this a color. Let's do that vanilla. And then sort the sheet. Or where'd it go then? It is same weight as a Float Zig. A little bit lighter than a Float Zig. But about the same as a Skechers Aero Burst. And I'd say that like those two shoes are pretty opposite. They're trying to both be the same thing, comfy shoes. But I think, Diadora's big thing has been like normalize high mileage stuff. And I think that because of that, they're like, well, when you're high mileage, your ankles are getting tired and your form's getting sloppy. So we need to make sure that there is lateral support. And I felt it when I first put the shoe on. The stepping comfort is great, but I felt like all underneath my right arch, I felt like it was just assertive. It was poking me in there. But then once I started, and then when I ran in it at first, like I was like clunk, 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 clunk from back to front. But then as I got kind of loosened up and maybe some of those endorphins were hitting, and I just kind of avoided the heel a little bit. Not that I was running on my toes, but kind of my more normal foot strike and not a max cushion, easy day recovery run foot strike. Then I was like, oh, I'm hitting that combo of like the EVA, the supercritical EVA, and that blue gel that they have just right. And it was nice. So I don't know. I don't want to like this shoe because of all the stability language that they put into the description. But I kind of might be liking the shoe. The other thing I want to show you guys about this shoe is like, I've never seen a brand do this in the box. So here's the box, right? And in this, you know how like they face the shoes like opposite each other so the two shoes fit inside? So they've done it. They have glued in these little cones of cardboard. And they're offset depending on which side would have like the right shoe and which one have the left, right? So they're very specifically placed on each side. And then they rolled up a little piece of tissue paper and put it inside the cone of cardboard. So that way the shoes like wouldn't slide around too much in the box and they wouldn't get scuffed up rubbing up against each other. That's that's so much effort in here. In a package where the shoes are wrapped in paper. You know what I mean? Like it was just a lot. I was like, what's going on here? Like, what do you think the customer feedback was? Where they're like, we got to fix this. Put a cone of cardboard in there and stuff it with tissue paper. You know? I don't know. Johnny says, I feel like the shoebox should have a dribble in it. It would be a nice habitat in there. With all that paper in the middle, there'd be a nice place for him to hide. And then maybe the food goes in the little cardboard cones. Yeah. And Rich Wilson says, now you can't easily reuse the box for something else. I mean, you can. This comes off. It's just glue. Kind of a lot of glue, but it's just glue that's on here. So it's just a normal box. But they just put these little things in. I don't know. Yeah. Andrew Scott says, big cone strikes again. They're always inserting themselves. And Jody Beck says, Co's now doing shoebox reviews. Chris over at Wear Testers was doing a review of an Asics casual shoe. And he was pretty upset about it because he's like, this is the most popular shoe that's being sold right now. And he's like, it's this old school shoe from Asics. It's $100. It's like a GT 1130 or something like that. I don't even know what it's called. And he was mad about it. I don't think he likes that shoe, but he was so mad about it. And then he was like, here's the box it comes in. It's just their regular shoe box. Nothing to write home about. He's just so grumpy about it. It was funny. Now I get it. Like in the street style world, the shoe boxes are fancier. They're part of the storytelling, especially if it's like some sort of collab shoe or pro trot. Like I get it, but he was like, it's $100 shoe. He was mad at the box. I just thought that was really funny. But sometimes the box is important. I get it. You know, like the Tracksmith boxes, very nice. You know. Yeah. Matt Running says, favorite shoebox? My least favorite is Hoka. The Hoka ones are interesting. They open differently, you know. And what I don't like about the Hoka boxes is they have like instead of doing cones, they put little pieces of like, I don't know if it's paper. It feels like plastic, but it's about the size of like a napkin at a restaurant. You know, like at a fast food restaurant. And these little slips of plasticky film that they put in there, pieces of paper kind of. And it has a big recycling logo on it, but I'm like, I guarantee you my recycling center does not recycle that. So that's just garbage. I don't like that. I don't understand why those are in there and I don't like them. But I don't have a too strong opinion about it. Favorite shoebox are probably like the ones where the shoe slides out. That seems really fancy to me. I like those. Is it more cardboard and unnecessary for someone who stores their shoes on a shelf? Do I need that? No. But those are, I think, nicer ones. Generally, the shoe boxes that I dislike the most, though, are the ones that tell you all the technology on the box. That just feels cheap to me, you know? Like, I get why they do it because they want to be able to put all the important information on there for a consumer who might not be buying that shoe from a place that has a knowledgeable salesperson. But part of me is like, you're buying premium run product. You should be getting it from a place that has a knowledgeable salesperson that can tell you this stuff. And just like slapping it all on there, I don't know. Like Skechers does it. Brooks does it to an extent. I don't like that. I don't think we need that. I don't know. Yeah, Martha says, any cardboard boxes that have glossy paint are not recyclable. Oh, I didn't know that. That makes me mad at a lot of boxes then. Sega Dreamcast says, Brooks is the most straightforward, least amount of packing material, and it doesn't smell like Saucony shoes does. What is up with Saucony? It's not the boxes. I think it's the shoes. The shoe. What do they call those? Off-gassing? What is it called? Like the Saucony shoes smell, right? And it makes the box smell. I don't know what's going on. But Brooks is generally pretty straightforward. Sometimes there's a lot of like, here's the tech that's inside. I do like the drawings that are on the Brooks box, so that's nice. Matthias says, my favorite shoebox is Nike LeBrons. I don't know if they still do, but used to slide them open. Sturdy too. It's nice. It feels more like a gift when you slide it open. I don't know. I don't know. Martha says the Brooks ones come apart to flatten really easily, and they don't have glossy paint. You don't. This is trying. You guys always find a way to make me rant about the most ridiculous stuff. The other kinds of shoe boxes that I don't like, I don't remember. I can't think of offhand what brands do this, but sometimes the shoes, instead of these cardboard cones, will have glued in a little piece of styrofoam. Not styrofoam, like foam though, like hydro petrochemicals, like a little piece of foam is glued onto the side of it. And I try to recycle the box. I'll try to take that off because that's not going to be recyclable. But then it rips. The glue is stronger than the foam. And so then I'm like, you know? So like, I don't know. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? What brand does that? Mark Del Carmen says, rant. Yeah. Andrew Scott says, we're runners. We can rant for a mile and miles. I love that. Yeah, Vanessa Martinez says, we need a true professional to judge the shoe boxes. Bring me the cat. Oh, good news, guys. And this is going to change my Koros Pace 4 review substantially. Like kind of ironically, but literally it will. I looked at, so I did Yasso 800s today. Worked out really well. I even spiked up for the last two, they're Diadora spikes. I don't know if they're off embargo yet, and they're upstairs, so I don't have them. But anyway, so I'm running in the Yasso 800s workout into my Koros app, so that way I can send it to the Koros watch, and I use track mode and do all that stuff. And when I started using the Koros watch, there was no cat-themed watch face for me to use. And I've been looking at the Koros Pace Pro and the Apex 4. And they each have really fun cat-themed watch faces that were available. And I like those. And my younger daughter didn't really appreciate the connection, but I think she's more of a cat person than she is a dog person. Even though she does love our dog, she's more of a cat person. And she watches way more cat videos on YouTube than dog videos. So I told her, hey, I put these cats on my watch because I think that you're kind of a cat person. And then whenever I look at the watch, it reminds me of you. And she did like that. So I've got this Pace 4 and I'm like, all right, great. I'll add another cat to the watch faces. And there were no cat watch faces available. And that was annoying to me. And I was like, well, fine. And I was using this old like retro Casio style one, which was fine. It was fun. But then as I'm looking at the app today to enter in the workout, it said 3090 watch faces available. And I was like, oh, so I click on it. I'm in the car at the track, about to try to do a workout. I'm already like running late. And I'm like, yeah, I got to see if there's a cat. I got to see if there's a cat face first. And so lo and behold, there is a new cat themed one. I don't love it, but it is a third different one. So now each of my Koros watches has a different cat theme on it, which I'm liking. So it's been fun. JC says, what was the recovery interval? I set it to 3 minutes, which I first thought was long. Previously when I've done Yasso 800s, I've always just set it to 2.5 because I felt like 2.5 is plenty of rest. And the rest seemed long because I was shooting for about 305 for each 800 meter interval. So like 3 minutes is fine. Setting a rest to 305 seems a little bit picky. So I was like, just set it to 3 minutes. The first 3 minutes was like, I'm ready to go. This is too long. But by the end, I was like, 3 minutes seems just right. So that was good. So that was fun. Luis says, was a puppy jealous? There aren't that many good dog-themed ones, dog-themed watch faces on Koros. So if there were dog ones available, I probably would have done that. Maybe for my Garmin doesn't really have a lot of good customizable watch faces. It doesn't seem to be as fun there. But maybe I'll find a dog one for the Apple Watch. So maybe that is. Martha's like, what's with the cats? I just thought it was fun. I was trying to think of like what would be nice. when I'm doing a review in terms of watch faces. Everyone kind of uses the same watch faces for their reviews, so just to stand out, I was gonna put a cat on mine, and cats kind of remind me of my daughter, so my younger daughter. I just think she's like a cat person, so it was just a way of reminding myself about my younger daughter. All right. Anthony says, any plans on reviewing the Mountain to Coast H1? I don't currently. Mountain to Coast sent me their first two shoes, and I did not like them, like at all. And I've been talking to Thomas about it, because he was telling me about when we were in Tokyo. He was telling me he was going from Tokyo to China, to work on his collab shoe. He was telling me about the new foam that's in the H1, and his collab shoe is built off the H1, I think, if I'm remembering it correctly. And I was like, okay, sounds good. He's like, will you review the H1 then? I'm like, probably not. Or maybe if Mountain Coast wants to send me like one of your shoes, he's like, will you review my shoe? I'm like, if you want me to review your shoe, I will. Otherwise, I'll just wear it. Like I'll wear it, help you promote it, whatever. I don't need to review it. He's like, will you review it though? I'm like, if you want me to, I will, but I'm going to review it. He's like, I would. Yeah, he's like, yeah, of course. And he's like, well, and if they send me like an H1 at the same time, maybe. But like otherwise, I've not been super interested in what Mountain Coast is doing. They seem to be very popular, but I just didn't like the first one so much that I was like, wow, I'll wait for something else to happen. Sega Dreamcast says the H1 punches above its weight for sure. It's really nice. People are saying nice things about that new foam. So yeah, I'm assuming it'll come across my desk at some point. It's also a trail shoe though, right? Or a hybrid. I guess H is hybrid, and so I guess I've been running in some hybrid shoes. We've spent a lot of time talking about the gravel shoes already. So I like hybrid shoes because they're as trail as I need a shoe to be, because I don't live in mountains, And so I feel like that's more my lane, I feel like. So, other question was, there was another shoe. Oh, Cigar Sidipura says, I'm sorry I said that wrong. Cigar Sidipura says, any news on Peg 42? What will be your most anticipated shoe for next year? I don't know what my most anticipated shoe for next year is. I feel like I thought 2025 was going to be a down year because we just had an Olympic year. But 2025 had some wild hits. I guess I'd say my most anticipated shoe at this moment that I can think of off the top of my head would probably be Nova Blast 6. Because we're not getting a Nova Blast for 2025. But I think we are getting one in 2026. So I think that's the one that I'm most looking forward to, especially with all the changes we got to the Blast family, specifically like Mega Blast, So it'll be interesting to see where that one goes. Peg 42 is going to pretty much be exactly the same as Peg 41. It's going to be the exact same as Peg 40. It's going to be the exact same as Peg 39. So I'm not super excited about the Pegasus. Peg Plus 2. I'm more excited about that, or whatever they're calling. Yeah, they're gonna. Are they still gonna do the Plus and Premium next year? But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I haven't even thought about any of the race shoes yet in terms of what's coming. But we already got so many surprises this year. Like this Fast R3 was, I mean, I knew it was coming, and I was highly anticipating it. But I had a feeling that might be a shoe of the year. I didn't know about the Metaspeed. Well, I did know about Metaspeed Ray because I tested it an earlier one in TRE last year. So I knew that was coming, but I didn't think I knew I was gonna like it a lot because I tested it. But these two were super exciting for 20. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's next. So, yeah, I'll be getting surprised along with you guys, I think, a lot next year. Rob Van Spowen says, yo, what's going on? Mike, are you going to try the Vomero Premium? Would love to know your thoughts. People have been asking me for a long time about the Vomero Premium. I do have plans to test them. I was going to try and buy my own pair of those, but they weren't for sale for the longest time. And I guess now they are on sale, so people can get them. Are they hard to get? I don't know. So I guess I should probably go look and try and buy a pair. I'll probably be in the mood for a shoe like that after Valencia. So maybe I'll go try and buy a pair now. Cigar Sidpura says, thoughts on Tracksmith apparel, worth it? The question that I hate the most that I get is whether apparel is worth it. I think Tracksmith apparel is great. Whether it's worth it, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question ever. Do I love Tracksmith apparel? Yeah, absolutely. Do I love CLA apparel? Yep. Do I love Bandit apparel? Yep. Are any of those worth the price? I don't know. There's so much more subjectivity and personal identification, I think, that happens with fashion apparel than it happens with shoes. Now, shoes are a very expressive medium for sure. But I think that like shoes fit your foot a certain way for the most part. Clothes fit you very differently, and clothes do a very different kind of signaling. So there's just so many more layers to it. So whether it's worth it, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how anyone answers that question, really. That's probably why I don't review clothes that much. I have clothes that I like. I have clothes that I wear regularly and I reach for again and again. But yeah, that's about all I could say. You know, I don't know. Jody Beck says, it'll be interesting to see how many new shoe releases come out in 2028 when the LA Olympics will no doubt have a larger market in the US with local hype. Yeah, I feel like everything's going to be LA themed. I think we'll see a lot of racing shoes ahead of the trials. So that way those shoes can be run-in. I think you need to have a shoe that's available for sale when you hit your times for qualifying for the Olympics, right? I'm not sure. The rules are a little bit different for Olympics than they are for everything else. And so that's why we saw a bunch of shoes come out in like 2023 and 2024. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I do think that everyone's going to want to have an LA something for it, you know? Okay. Give excess. I value apparel by the technical fabrication and longevity, but I find high quality apparel from larger mainstream brands go on sale more frequently, if that's any deciding factor. Yeah, I feel like, you know, I think on the fringes, it's easier for me to answer that question. Is Satisfy worth it? For me, no. For someone that cares more about the fashion side of it, yes. But that also kind of like only further envelops me into the dilemma that I have in answering the question. You know, can I get 2 to 3 pairs of very, very cheap tights for the price of a pair of tights that I really like? Yes. We get into the fast fashion aspect of it, which Vanessa talks about, which fast fashion is not worth it. I try to buy quality that will last longer than one season. And then also like, there's so much of it is like, how do you feel in it? You know, like, yes, I can buy 2 to 3 pairs of like generic knockoff tights. One, are they knockoffs that are copying someone else's IP and basically, in my opinion, cheating art? You know, or is it just like you're making something cheap? Like, will that fit you as comfortably? Are you the kind of person that has chafing in certain spots where one brand doesn't chafe you ever and other brands, cheaper brands might? Sometimes more expensive brands might, you know, so like it's so hard to answer. It's weird where I feel like, yeah, I know if like 175, which is what they're asking for the Bondi 9, does that feel like a lot? Yeah. Is it worth it? I'm not sure. I'd like to see it cheaper than that. You know, that's easy for me. I don't know. Maybe because I care about running shoes more than I care about fashion. But with fashion, I just have a hard time with that question, you know? Yeah, Louis says, if the clothes feel great after 2 or 3 years, it's definitely worth it. Okay. And Shin Strife says, Tracksmith makes great stuff, but it is hit or miss for me. in parentheses, me, a big dude runner. Okay, I could see that. Yeah. And so, like, I don't know. Like, it's a tough question. I struggle with it, to be honest with you. I struggle with that one really hard. I don't know how to answer whether, like, apparel is worth it. Because I feel like when people ask if something is worth it, they're not asking, is it good? They're asking a different question that I feel like that's not what they want to know. I feel like a lot of times, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, and I don't know if the person who asked this question is doing this too, and I'm not trying to insinuate that you were, but a lot of times when I read that question, it's accusatory, because I've done like a survey of like, here's what's coming from Tracksmith in the fall, or here's what's coming from Craft in the winter, and it's like, is it worth it though? It feels very accusatory in a lot of ways, and the other part of it, it feels like people are asking for permission to buy something cheaper. You know, I'm like, and for me, I'm like, wear what you want, where you feel comfortable wearing. You know, like, look at Courtney Dahlwalter. She wants to wear basketball shorts when she runs a 100-mile race. That's cool. That's great. That's what a runner wears then, you know? And so I feel like a lot of times people are asking for permission to either buy something cheaper or permission to be angry at something. And I just don't want to participate in that. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into the question. I don't know. But people never ask me, is it good? People sometimes ask me, do I like XYZ? But they never ask me if it's good or if it's quality. You know, they ask me, is it worth it? Which is, I don't know, maybe I think I'm reading too much into it, but I think it's also a very different question. Yeah. And Sadara says, I think people just want to hear your thoughts and experiences and opinions. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to do that, but it's the worth it question that always trips me up, you know? Yeah. And JC says, the stuff you wear, wash, and repeat every week says a lot. So like, I recently ran into this on TikTok, because on TikTok I've been trying some different things, and TikTok to me, it's all shopping. It's so annoying. I find it really irksome when I'm on TikTok a lot. I feel like commercials are being screamed at me. So I'm like, maybe this is what people like on TikTok. So I've been making reels that show, like, that name everything that I'm wearing, which is fun. I'm enjoying making it, and I think it's interesting. But then I also was like, I should probably put disclosures on this stuff, because I'm not specifically saying anything about any one piece of apparel that I'm wearing. But a lot of it did get sent to me, you know, so I put my normal question in there. And so, like, related to how remember I talked about, like, people have figured out that, like, when I do a 100-mile review, it's generally because that in and of itself is generally a sign that I like it. And someone was like, oh, those Bandit tights, you've had them for a while, and you said you got them for the purpose of review, so you didn't have to pay for them. That must mean that you really like them. Or are you doing a longer term review? And I was like, I was just saying that I got these to review them, to use them. And that's in contradistinction from, like, they paid me to make a reel about this or a TikTok about that, you know? And so I think people were trying to read into it, but I don't know. I'm like, if you see me wearing stuff, it's either because I want to see if it's any good, or if you see me wear it a bunch of times, it's because I like it. I don't know. Other than that, I can say I like stuff, you know. OMG Vix says, OMG Vix. I think I botched that the first time. OMG Vic says, I mean, I've PR'd in generic unbranded clothes, but Kafuzi is right. Brand affiliation does kind of cross into identity and questions around ethical consumption. It gets tricky. And I think people are, I don't know. I've also been thinking that, this is getting long, guys. Sorry. Thanks for hanging out. We'll wrap it up soon. I also feel like it's becoming more and more that I feel like sometimes with the questions that people ask me on YouTube, and then also maybe I've been just spending too much time in the basement. Maybe I need to get out more. But it feels like a lot of times the questions that people ask me are not the real questions that they want to ask. They want to accuse me of something. And so like they pose a question first. And so, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Jody Beck says, real quality versus price comes down to what you want from it. If you run in the same item for most runs, then quality is probably important. But if you run occasionally, then a lower price may be better. I mean, I think there's a place for things like Decathlon or like, is Bayleaf still a company that exists on Amazon? Back when I was shopping on Amazon. I think there's certainly a place for that. A way for people that want to get into the sport to be able to try it without having to put up a bunch of cash first. You know, like if someone's like, hey, I'm getting into running, like, what do I need? Like, I'm not going to be like, well, here, you got to go to bandit.com and you got to buy all this stuff. You know, I'm not going to do that, you know? There'd be other things that I would probably recommend to them first if they're just starting out. Number one, I'd say just start running. You know, tell me what chafes later, and then I'll tell you how to solve those problems. Till then, you already got what you need, you know? But yeah, but I guess it depends on like, yeah. But I also feel like people have the word value and worth it is so subjective that like it's almost impossible. It's almost meaningless, you know? All right. Yeah, don't worry about going long, Kobe says. It's great to set records. Is this the longest one? Maybe it's the longest one. I don't know. All right. And JC says, Bayleaf still exists. BCG from Academy is a decent budget clothing too. Oh, I've never seen that one. I'll have to look at that. Okay. Well, there we go. All right. I think that's a good place to leave it for today, guys. This week I'll be in Iowa, but I think we're coming back for Monday. So the plan is to come back on Monday because we got to do this parent-teacher conferences. And I think we're going to come back in time for me to do live stream. So we'll do one more live stream next week, but then there won't be one for a while because then it'll be Thanksgiving, and then I'll be in Texas, and then I'll be in Valencia. So I won't see you guys for a while. So hopefully I'll see you guys Monday. So that way it doesn't seem quite as long. All right, guys. If you guys are racing this weekend or if you got long runs this weekend, have a good one. Be safe out there. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys soon.